Support LaneSide. Get something cool. All right, welcome back down on the lanes, and we are talking about Arsenal construction today. We're looking at the new Anger Solid from Hammer. Now, the Anger Pearl was one that we really liked for playing later in the block, something that was going to be for your burn. But the Anger Solid is a completely different animal, but still kind of the same. So let's talk about it a little bit here. We see this ball here in a couple of different places in your bag. First of all, if you look at those core numbers, 2.567049, that ball is going to be a little harder to spin up because of the high RG. So it's going to go a little farther down the lane, but it does have a fair amount of flare. 049 means it's around 4.5 to 5 inches of flare. So it's going to want to flare, and it's going to want to move laterally. Now at 500 and 2,000, yeah, look at my face there. Holy moly. At 502,000 on this Semtech Solid cover stock, the same cover that we saw on the Hazmat and the Dark Legend Solid, that's going to create an interesting combination. We're going to get a high RG core that doesn't want to spin up early, so it wants to go a little bit longer, with a very strong, smooth cover stock. Remember, no HK22 here. They didn't want it to be a little bit longer. They wanted it to be nice and smooth. Oh, yeah, look at that reaction. Look at my reaction. So this actually becomes what we would call a benchmark reaction for rev-dominant players. Those guys who either have low ball speed and high rev rate or just have ridiculous rev rates, this is a ball that's going to allow them to control the break point. It's going to get farther down the lane, so it's not going to see the front part of the lane as much. So it's not going to be as susceptible to when it gets broken down in the fronts. But because of that strong cover and the amount of energy it's going to have, as it gets down to the mid lane, it's really going to see the mid lane. And it's definitely going to be smooth coming around the corner. You can see how... Whoa! You can see how smooth that one was. Might have gotten a little bit far out here. But that's what this ball is for. It's not for hooking the whole lane. It's for controlling the break point. You want this ball to be, similar to your benchmark ball. For you high rev players, for you rev dominant players, this is going to be very much a benchmark ball for you. And for you one-handed players who are maybe matched up or more speed dominant, this is going to be a ball that allows you to control control the pattern as the oil starts to deplete. So the later on in the block, as your benchmark ball starts to get to be too much, you're going to be able to go into something like the Anger Solid and still get the ball down lane and still be smooth without having to make huge leaps to keep the ball in line. So if we look at this ball here, this is very controlled at the break point. Even there you can see I got on that amazing 4-pin there. I tried to get around it as much as I possibly could, and it still wasn't, it definitely cornered, but it wasn't as fast as you would see in, say, like a Pearl or a Hybrid. Now, I've been moving slowly left. The first couple of shots were where my regular benchmark is, and you can see it was just a little bit too much. I've made about a 7-board move here, and you can see how good that looks. Now, whether you're on a high-friction pair like mine that forces me a little bit farther left, or you're playing more up the lanes in a lower friction center, as I said, this is going to be very, very benchmarky. So where do we put this in our bag? Well, for our rev-dominant players, one-handed or two-handed, and especially for our two-handed bowlers, this is going to be a benchmark ball. Speaking of benchmark balls, we've got our new Turbo X here to compare it to, and I want you guys to take a real good look. You can see my Turbo X here has compound on it, so it is going to naturally be a little bit longer. The Anger, however, does not. So we're going to get a little bit more teeth out of this, and I think you're going to see just a little bit of difference here. Yeah, we're looking at about 7 boards difference because of no compound on the Anger. If we were to take the compound off the Turbo, it would be almost identical. In fact, I can tell you because I've taken the compound off my other turbo that I have as my benchmark ball in League. I have it at 502,000, and it is within about a board. For you speed dominant players, for you match players, this is going to be something that you might be able to go to later on in the block. In fact, even maybe later on in League towards Game 3. If you don't want to open up the lanes with something that is Pearl, or if there's already a lot of free friction, maybe it's very over-under in your center, and you need something that is going to, have some traction in the oil but not hang a full left turn as soon as it hits the friction, this anger is going to be really good for you later on. We're going to say... for you guys, this is going to be even a late hook, maybe even a burn ball, depending on how you prepare it. Now, one more time, let's watch it here. Let's watch how it gets through the pins here, because you can see how continuous it is. And I want you to watch the distance on the ball here, even though it's got that huge cover. Yeah. Once we get lined up with that Turbo X, it is definitely the same kind of motion. So we're going to call this a house shot killer for you Rev Dominant players. It's certified fresh on short oil and great for you Rev Dominant players. Until next time, guys, we'll see you laneside.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a show. So until next time, guys, we'll see you laneside.